dogs, heroic tales of Trusty Hounds by Kimberlie Hamilton. Titina, North Pole pioneer. In the early 19th, the very notion of flying an airship over the North Pole was considered mad, not to mention impossible. Yet, Italian explorer Umberto Nobile wasn't put off by people who scoffed. He even planned to take his fox terrier Titina along for the ride. He'd found her on the streets of Rome, and they went everywhere together, even to the top of the world. Thousands of onlookers cheered as Umberto's lighter than air dirigible lifted off the grounds and floated skyward. Inside, the gondola under the airship was so cramped that his crew of 16 couldn't sit down, although Titina was quite comfy atop a pile of supplies. The men weren't too thrilled about having a dog on board, least of all the expedition's commander, the famous polar explorer Roald Amundsen. Despite all the grumblings, the mission was a success, and Titina and Umberto embarked on a grand world tour. They met with royalty, Hollywood stars, the U.S. president, and other VIPs, and Umberto insisted that Titina be included in every photo. Umberto's next polar adventure with Titina turned out to be a disaster. The airship crashed during a storm, and some crew members tragically lost their lives. Umberto was criticized for boarding a rescue plane with Titina, temporarily leaving the other survivors behind. Umberto spent the rest of his life trying to restore his tarnished reputation. Titina stuck with him through good times and bad, and earned a place in history books and the first dogs to fly over the North Pole. See 1925, Unknown, Italy.
And read. Continue.
Togo, Alaska's greatest sled dog. In the winter of 1925, some children in Nome, Alaska, USA, had fallen ill with diphtheria, a slightly contagious disease that could be fatal if not treated in time. The nearest antitoxin was over 1,000 miles away in Anchorage.
Continue reading.
A train could transport the serum partway. From there, only sled dogs could go the remaining distance, a journey that normally took a month. Could the dogs get there any faster? It was a long shot, but the only hope. More than 20 mushers and their dogs took part in the life or death relay. Leonard Seppala's team included his bag's dog, Togo, a 12-year-old husky who was well past retirement age. He was also fiercely determined, a natural-born leader and the fastest dog in the state. At one point during his leg of the relay, Leonard faced a critical decision: take a shortcut over the frozen but tenacious stretch of water, or go around it, which would be far safer but take longer. Blinded by snow and battling gale force, winds, and sub-zero temperatures, Leonard let Togo make the call. The fearless husky led the team across the ice, mere hours before it broke apart. The precious serum was delivered within a week. Yet, even though Togo had led the longest, fastest, and most dangerous part of the relay, the dog has led the final team into the Nome, got most of the glory. To those in the know, Togo was the true hero of the mission that saved so many lives. He went on to become the patriarch of today's Siberian Husky line, so his extraordinary legacy lives on. 1913-1929, Alaska.
And you can read.
Here are its homes. Leonard Seppala described Togo as 50 pounds of muscle and fighting heart. Here are some other dogs that risked their lives to help people in need. Labrador Retriever Bosch worked for the Philippine Coast Guard. He recovered 4 bodies after an earthquake and helped rescue teams following a devastating landslide. He was awarded a medal by the President of the Philippines. Buddy, a German Shepherd, pressed the speed dial button to call for help when his owner had a seizure. Minutes after he barked into the phone, paramedics arrived, just in the nick of time. A Navy SEAL dog named Claro was part of the team in Pakistan that infiltrated the compound of Osama bin Laden, the man behind the 9/11 attacks on the New York City. Time magazine named Claro Animal of the Year in 2011. Allie and Jones were adopted by a man with type 1 diabetes. One evening, while he was out walking them, his blood sugar dropped. He didn't have his insulin kit or his phone and collapsed on the way home. Ellie stayed at his side while Jones ran to fetch the man's family. They were awarded the PDSA Gold Medal for their heroism. During Hurricane Katrina in 2005, a black Labrador saw a man struggling with raging floodwaters. Katrina pulled him to safety and calmly stayed at his side until rescuers could reach them. A Doberman pinscher, Han, saved a toddler from a deadly snake in Australia. The dog saw a king brown snake, one of the world's most venomous, and pushed it away from the little girl. Han was bitten on the paw but received an anti-venom shot and fully recovered. An elderly blue heeler named Max saved a 3-year-old child lost in Queensland, Australia. Despite being deaf and half-blind, Max found the girl, kept her warm overnight, and led the rescuers to her the next day. Local authorities made him an honorary police dog. Firefighters battling a house fire in Baltimore, Maryland, USA, found an 8-month-old child inside. Polo, the family dog, had sheltered her from the flames with his own body, giving up his own life to save her. Willie, a Labrador retriever, saved a 6-year-old boy from a vicious wolf attack in Alaska. He furiously confronted the wolf and chased it off. The boy was wounded but fully recovered.